playing that game offline, just sitting next to someone whenever we can do that again, is literally one of my favorite experiences of all time.
AOA, that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah. Open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AOA, check me out. Look, plugged in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AOA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with my co-host, Isaiah.
Yo, yo, yo.
And today we have a very special guest. You have probably seen him on YouTube before, playing all the latest and greatest video games within the anime sphere, going from Dragon Ball Z Fighters to the popular Genshin as of recently, throwing things out like reviews and gameplay and strategy and everything you could ever ask for. Today we are joined by Globekoo. My friend, what is going on? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
today.
so much for your invitation. It was the highest production quality invitation I've ever received. So I'm honored to be a part of this podcast. You guys are a growing channel. And, later, I hope I can say like 5 years from now that, yeah, I was in there before 10K, man. Like I was a part of that little club. But yeah, looking forward to what you guys have got prepared for us. Because like we did a prep session, and let me tell you, That's the prep session of a channel that has like over 1 million subscribers. These guys know what they're doing, and I'm very curious as to what's gonna happen here.
Thank you. Pressure's on now.
Oh, all right.
We can't mess this up. No, dude, seriously, thank you. That goes a long way. Obviously, coming from you, and especially, Isaiah in particular, I'm sure we'll talk about it, has been following your journey for quite a while now. So to hear that from you is really a big deal. So thank you. We appreciate it, and we won't let you down or anyone else down. We're climbing, man.
I'll be the judge of that.
No breaks. Judge away, my friend.
I'm curious,
Oh,
Isaiah,
man.
like how far back does it go? Like when did you first start following?
So I've been a fan of yours all the way since TGN.
All right.
Which I know that you had a channel, or you were working on a channel before. Like that wasn't your first, your first outing into the YouTube channel,
Right.
Yeah. Bubble. But that was when I first.
It was definitely the first
knew of
time that I grew enough to have some sort of recognition, for sure. Like before that, it was under 10K channel. The channel where I make videos right now, it was below 10K for the longest time. Then I kind of put it on pause to go work on TGN because they were demanding a lot more of me, so I didn't have time to keep up with the other channel. And now I came back and just hit 150K, so that's good. I like that a lot. Yeah, so that's been over 2 years that you've been following this channel.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I gotta be honest, dude. Like, if I could fanboy for just a minute, I really your content has been one of the staples in like how we do things here, because you have like this level of just production quality and consistency, and also like fairness. Like I know I watch plenty other YouTubers, let's just say, that cover anime games, where like, especially with the anime gaming community, there's a lot of let's just say pandering, right? Where it's like, oh, this anime game came out and it's got some flaws, it's got some like ups and downs, but like it's the best we're gonna get, guys. So like, let's support it, let's do. But you have always taken the stance of like, no, we should really be trying to like vote with our wallets and hold these companies and these places that make games accountable, because we love these IPs and we want to see them in like actually good video games, as opposed to just X generic game with Naruto's name on it or whatever.
Yeah,
which I've always admired.
That's definitely one of the big messages that I try to get out there, is like, anime games can be good. Like, they can actually be good. You don't have to take what they give you. You can skip on buying something, even though it's an anime that you like. That doesn't make you less of a fan. In fact, it makes you more of a fan to go, no, my IP deserves better. My favorite anime deserves better. I'm not going to buy this garbage. And that's, yeah. So, when I started this on TGN Anime, it was two ends of the spectrum, right? All the videos were, this is the best thing of all time, this is the worst thing of all time. There was no in between. Either a game was trash and it wasn't even talked about, or it was just overhyped. Like anything Dragon Ball would get views. So for every YouTuber out there, it was always an awesome game. It didn't matter if it was, I don't know, Dokkan, or if it was Fighters. Like, everything was good, on the same level, always hype, always more videos, always put it out. And like, I get that from a creator's perspective, because You need games and you need that content to put out regular videos. But I feel like that industry, that part of the industry, wasn't being well represented. And I was looking at other channels outside of this bubble and being like, okay, we see the video game industry growing because there are actually reviewers out there going, hey, buy this, don't buy that, and giving fair reviews out to everyone. And we didn't have that on the anime gaming space back when I started. We're starting to see a little bit of it for sure. But even stuff like, I don't know, IGN, GameSpot, the big gaming websites, I feel like they never gave anime games enough of a shot, for instance. Like, they were quickly dismissed because there was this stigma around anime games that, no, they're all bad. They're all cash grabs, right? And I think, especially, I think fighters especially changed the perspective a little bit on those. But we still see a lot of unfair treatment of anime games between those big publications.
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because we've talked to a couple of, anime YouTuber channels, just about sort of the YouTube game here, about growth, about like what it is, everybody does differently, or, what it is they want for their brand or for their channel. But you're one of the first people that we've talked to who, like, most of the people that we've talked to, the channel they have now is the channel they started with, right? It's this one and done thing where, like, this has been my thing from the gate, and whether that's 2 years, 8 years, 10 years, what have you. But the channel you have now, as you said before, is not your very first channel. You've actually been a part of a couple. So, like, I just wanted to ask, what was that journey like? I guess from, whether it was deciding when to leave or start a different channel, move on to something else. Like, what was that journey like?
Right. Well, it kind of is my first channel in a way. So I started on a different one, but I wasn't being a YouTuber. I was making World of Warcraft videos for my guild. I wasn't even making them public. All those videos were pretty much unlisted. But that's where I started recording stuff, getting comfortable in front of a camera and editing, when I decided to quit World of Warcraft. But I wanted to sort of keep some, I don't know, I wanted to keep in touch with that community that I built in World of Warcraft, because I was guild leader and I made a lot of friends there. I even flew out to different countries to meet up with them, and a good friend group emerged out of that. But I was quitting World of Warcraft, which was the thing that we did together. So in order to keep in touch with those guys, that's when I made the channel that is today called Globku. At the time, it was called Magical Noob. It was a different thing. So that was a variety channel. That was a channel where I was just making videos on whatever I was playing, and that was a way of showing that group, hey, I'm playing this thing is cool, we could maybe play it together someday. That part of things never really worked out, but that's the channel that I'm on right now. Like, that's that channel. That's the one that was called Magical Noob. It just didn't have a lot of growth for the longest time, and it kept being my passion project in a way. Like, I just made whatever I felt like and whatever I liked doing. And at some point, I started working for TGN. Started with on the live stream team, actually, and just doing live streams on Twitch. So that was something that, okay, I have my schedule. I'm streaming from this time to this time, which is, I don't know, 6 hours a week. I can dedicate the rest to my YouTube channel, and also I was studying at the time. So I was divvying up my time like that. At some point, the Twitch team got disbanded, but they wanted me on the YouTube team. And just started out by editing videos, then became an on-camera talent. And at some point, the main TGN channel, which has over 1 million subscribers, it started covering Overwatch only. And I stayed on the team for a couple of months, but they quickly noticed that I wasn't that into Overwatch. So they said, you're a really good asset, but you're not contributing that much on this team. We do believe that you can start your own thing. So pitch us a new project for TGN. And that was TGN Anime, which ran for about 2 years before they shut it down. And after they shut it down, I'm like, okay, I have this 10K sub channel that I've been building over time, which was Magical Noob. I'm going to rebrand it and going to bring over the people that want to come with me from TGN Anime. Not a ton came along. Let's say I went from 10K subs to 20K, which on a maybe 30K. But TGN Anime had 100,000 subs. I was expecting the vast majority of that to come over. So most of the growth was still done here, and a lot of people watching the Globku channel have no idea what TGN was. So yeah, that was the decision. It was pretty natural at the time, and I never really left this channel. Just kind of put it on pause because at some point I couldn't even make videos. I didn't have enough time. TGN Anime took my entire day. I had no work hours left.
Wow.
Yeah. So you've had quite the journey, obviously, and it's still ongoing. And I hate to make this into like a YouTube tutorial session, but let's be honest here. You are the biggest YouTuber that we have had, content creator we have had on this show. And that very well might be the case for the foreseeable future, depending on what happens. So you've clearly learned some tricks of the trade. You're obviously very professional in our conversations even beforehand. Are there some things that you have picked up over your time on this journey that have maybe altered your perspective on how you go about this, or have, you know, changed you in some way, shape, or form, or are things you look back on now and you're like, wow, I wish I might have known that sooner? For anyone out there that, you know, is trying to maybe start this journey, because we all have to start from zero.
Ourselves included.
Yes.
It's well, yeah, over the course of 8 years, 8 years that I've had the Magical Noob channel, obviously a lot happened, right? Obviously we need to pick up a lot of stuff, and especially during my time with TGN, I did grow a lot as a content creator, as far as like understanding what I should be doing on YouTube, understanding the algorithm, understanding what the platform wants from me as a creator, instead of just what I want to give to the platform. Because I think that's a big mistake that a lot of YouTubers do when they first start out, is they want to make a certain type of content and they just want to put it out there and be successful. And that's just not how it works. Taking you guys as an example, let's imagine you guys are doing podcasts, you're doing anime episodes reviews, watching it together, you guys are having a good time, and you're putting out the content that you want. But imagine it doesn't work. Like, it takes a lot for a creator to go, my idea failed and I need to try something else. Like, I need to drop my entire plan that I had for this channel and focus on something else, or try other ideas. And that's something that I didn't do for the longest time, also because I didn't need my channel for a living while I was working with TGN. It was just my passion project. But yeah, I could have grown it a lot more knowing what I know today. And when it comes to YouTube, I think the number one lesson is that every lesson matters. And that is every little tip that you hear over time, like thumbnails, like how to build a thumbnail, how to edit the video to have an interesting first 5 seconds, so you hook the people in. Like, those are the most important seconds of a video, are the first 5 seconds. How to title your videos appropriately, how to choose the content that you're going to make. Like, every little thing matters, and every little thing stacks up to a successful channel. That would be the biggest thing. But if you want to boil it down to a strategy, it's whatever worked in the past, do more of that. Whatever didn't work, drop it. That's kind of how it goes. YouTube wants watch time. It wants people to stay on the platform. So what matters the most is the time that they spent on the platform watching your videos. And if after they watch your videos, they leave the platform, that's bad for you. If after they watch your videos, they click another one, that's more time that they stay on the platform. And that's what the platform wants from you as a content creator. Now, it may sound like it's turning us all into robots to create one type of content, but actually within those rules, you still have so much freedom to create so many different things, right? So it's about finding that balance of figuring out what the algorithm wants from you, and also creating what you like, because you can't create stuff that you don't like for a long period of time. It's going to kill you.
Of course.
If you have specific questions, I'm happy to listen to them. But like going very vague, broad strategy, that's kind of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot to break down in a question like that. And, like Ian said, we don't, mean turn this whole episode into a YouTube tutorial of how to. But that's definitely, even just that is definitely good advice and for starters. And I know actually something we have been talking a lot about is one of the first things you mentioned about, like, when you do something and it doesn't work, like learning when to be able to pull the plug and being like, all right, like, it sucks. I really love this idea, but like, it's just not working. It's just not doing what we need it as creators to do. So, how, learning when to be able to move on or shift gears and pivot into something else,
right,
is definitely among a lot of things you said.
Well, what would you guys say is like your average number of views on a good video after like a week?
So, yeah, so this is interesting, and I'm actually very glad that we're talking about this. Because Isaiah and I, like you said, have been talking about this recently. So, and this is somewhere where we could use your advice. So we have our channel, and I sound like a broken record when I say this, but just to give you context, I think it's relevant. So at year one end, we had 89 subscribers for a year of work to show. I said this is going to be a climb. And even about, a quarter into the following year, we've been at this for roughly a year and 8 months, something give or take. We didn't even break 300. And then from there, we started covering the show, if you're familiar, Tower of God. And that show in particular, I guess, had a very dedicated fan base to it. And basically for us, it's not crazy in the grand scheme of things, but since we started covering that, we have gone from roughly 300 subscribers, and we just broke 2,000 recently, which for us is a big deal, right? Even hitting that first 1,000 was like, holy crap, that was such a surge. And I think another thing that definitely helped was reaction videos as well, but we're kind of in a weird copyright thing right now where we're being like incredibly careful with that, not to step on any toes. So it's definitely like playing with one hand tied behind your back, literally, because that was like, besides Tower of God, that was another huge one. But Tower of God has become, a huge staple on our channel. So, that is something when we're talking about average views, will literally trounce almost any other video. And whether that's a fortunate thing or unfortunate thing is still something to be determined, because it's like the fan base that we've garnered from Tower of God is incredible. They're all great. They're all great people. And, it's a lot of fun and we enjoy the story. We've been reading through the webtoon as of recently, but we kind of, in the back of our minds have this deep-seated fear that it's like, okay, well, A, do we want to do this forever? B, if we do this forever, do we want to make this the whole channel? And C, like when this ends, if it does, like what happens there, right? So we've been trying, because I'll tell you that for anyone listening and you right now, full disclaimer, I think we're in agreement that we don't want to make the entire channel, like Tower of God. Like, we love the story, but there's just so much more we love with anime, with everything that has to do with it. So like in terms of covering it indefinitely, that's not an issue, but I just don't want it to envelop the entirety of the channel. And like, we're at this weird crossroads, because you look at a video on Tower of God and say our average Tower of God video gets roughly 1,000 views. I don't know, give or take. Like our other videos will do maybe 500, and then some things that we experiment with will just be like abysmal. It'll be like 100. Like, we just actually scrapped movie reviews from something that we do because, a couple close friends were like, okay, maybe you should review this movie, and we did it, but we just saw that the numbers were just not producing the desired results, right? So now we're pivoting into covering more, popular and current shows.
All right, so I'm gonna do some quick math here. So how many videos per week do you post?
Well, if you include live streams, because they auto post after we stream them, 7 days a week. 7 days a week. So 7 days a week. 80% of that would be around 5 videos, which leaves you 2 videos. 80% of your content should be your regular successful content. That is the robot's answer, by the way. Like, now you take this answer and you bring it into whatever you want to make with your channel. But a strategy that has consistently worked is 80% of your content. So on a weekly basis, that would be 5 videos, would be Tower of God. Then you leave another 20% for experimentation and exploratory content. So 2 videos a week are trying something new. That way you keep your channel growing with the things that you are successful, and you keep trying new stuff to potentially bring it into that 80% content, right? And that is the strategy that I still run on my channel, have run on TGN Anime for like 2 years. It's like, okay, this stuff works. Let's keep the channel growing with this content, and let's try to find new topics every week. So on my channel, I usually post like 3 videos a week, which only leaves me 2 regular content and 1 exploratory, which is not a lot of exploration to do, since you guys have a lot more regular content for sure. Though you are doing a mixed strategy of live and VODs, so you have a lot more variables to consider there. Because like, if something doesn't work, maybe it didn't work because it was live, or maybe it didn't work because it was a VOD, and maybe it would work the other way around. You have a lot of experimentation to do for sure. Sure, yeah.
That's a struggle that a lot of YouTubers run into. When I first created TGN Anime, The pitch was never to, I want to make a Naruto channel, I want to make a Dragon Ball channel. Like I wanted it to be broad enough to the point that I knew I wasn't depending on a single game. I wasn't depending on a single IP to live or die. Like if I made a Naruto channel, my channel would have been dead by now because like Boruto is just not it. So, or at least not as popular, right? And at the time, Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker, that was the most popular game that I was covering when I first started that channel. So it could have very easily turned into a Naruto channel, but that was something that I fought against. And Dragon Ball FighterZ content at first actually did not perform that well, but I kept fighting for it, and eventually it became a staple of the channel. When making your own plans, if you're covering any game, know that game will go away at some point. If you're covering any anime IP, know that at some point that will go away, and you need a backup plan. And you're gonna have to find that backup plan with those exploratory videos. And some channels cannot survive the transition. I don't want that to be the case for you guys, but yeah, that's just being real. Some channels, once the game dies, they go away. They can't transition into anything else. Their audience doesn't care what they transition to. And that's just it.
I have a follow-up question here. Do you think that there's something to be said about the further you go into whatever YouTube is telling you in that sense, then the harder it becomes to then detach yourself from it if needed or perform that sort of pivot? Or do you think it becomes easier? Because in my mind, there's a pro and con in the sense that it might become harder because a lot of the fans that you are picking up are there for that content. So then if you switch, there's that. But there's also, the thing to be said where it might be easier to switch because you have such a multitude of people now that have followed you, and hopefully a good amount of those people have followed you also, not only for the specific content that you're creating, but for you, right, as an individual, especially, like they follow you because of your personality and stuff like that. So I was curious, like, if you had any thoughts on that.
I think you answered your own question. It really depends on the type of content you have, and if it is the type of content where your personality really shines and people follow you for you can kind of make that transition easier. Not everyone will follow you, but a lot of people will. Sure. If you're making your content is very centered around news videos or guides, people are mostly there for the information. They might like you as a teacher, but they're there for the information. They're there to learn how to play the game, so a transition might not go as well if that's the case. But it always depends on the content, yeah.
Okay, so I have another question. Pivoting off of this, because I'm curious now. We were talking about like content and knowing what works and what doesn't. One of the series that you do on your channel that is my personal favorite is the the ranking of Naruto games.
Just started.
Yeah,
7 episodes.
I said just started. And I was like, wait, that's just not true. It's been going on for a minute. Yeah, but I wanted to sort of ask you about that. I wanted to know, like, if that is something that is sort of your bridging the gap, right, between content that you want to do and content that, like, works, or if that is a little bit more of a passion project side, or if that, what is that to you?
Oh, I'm 100% ready to drop this series the moment it doesn't work on the channel, by the way. Like, just letting everyone know. You better keep watching. No, it's the ranking of Naruto games was it comes to fill a void in the Naruto game space, because we don't know what the next Naruto game is going to be. Everyone's hungry for a next Naruto game, but the thing is, like, Naruto is over, and people haven't fully accepted that yet, because Boruto is the thing going now, and that's the thing they will promote. When it comes to anime games, very rarely does an active IP promote a dead IP, right? So whenever there's an anime game, there's usually a very big cross-promotion between promoting the anime, promoting the game itself, and merchandise and all that stuff. The Naruto IP is bigger than just the Naruto games. And that's something that people often don't understand. They're like, okay, we want a new Naruto game, cool, but Naruto is over. If they're going to spend money on a game, they're going to be marketing Boruto. They're not going to be marketing Naruto anymore. Right. The thing is, like, there's still a very big fan base for Naruto, and a Naruto game would totally be successful if it was released right now. And based on demand alone, they might even give it to Arc Systems and make a Naruto Fighters, which is everyone's dream, right? But the ranking of Naruto games comes up because there's this lull and there's this I don't know, empty void, and people are hungry for more Naruto games. And I kind of wanted to play them also. Like, I wanted to know how good these were, because some of them I've played in the past, others not so much. But I feel like Storm is the only one that gets attention. And I'm like, there must have been other good games, right? There must have. We'll see.
Gotta be something else.
Right, there's got to be something else. So yeah, ranking of Naruto games. I play a couple of Naruto games to completion, which sometimes takes way too long for a YouTube video. But I do it and then rank those games and move on to the next episode. I've definitely been enjoying that. I would say, yeah, it is very time consuming though. And I think some people appreciate that. Others are like, why don't you post this more often? Motherfucker. Because you don't deserve this show.
Making videos out here. Yeah. Well, I just want to say that I am definitely the one in the bandwagon that appreciates it. I think those videos particularly are very high quality amongst the stuff you do. And I like, as somebody who has played a lot of the older Naruto games, like taking that sort of, jump back into nostalgia, if you will, and seeing, how these games stack up against each other and how they stack up now being, the current year and generation we're in.
Right.
But I'm also curious, so like with a lot of, and it makes sense, again, we've been talking a lot about like YouTube and making videos and sort of like how to work with the algorithm instead of against it. Do you see yourself, I would say, trying this endeavor with any other anime games that have this kind of back catalog other than Naruto? Or is this sort of, like you said, specifically because that Naruto games as a sphere is like very hungry for content?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we'll have to wait until I'm done with this series, because first of all, I need to finish it. And there's a good chance that interest will die out at any point, and I don't even finish this one. And if I don't finish this one, I'm not going to start a new one for sure. But the thing is, after I finish it, we need to take a look back at the series, see how much time we put into it and what was the return, and then evaluate if it's worth doing for another one. I think that it's no surprise that if I was to do another one, it would be Dragon Ball. I know a lot of people are also asking for One Piece, but One Piece in the West is just not as popular, and it's not a part of the big three, and it never was. It's always been a part of the big three in Japan, but never in the West. Like the search volume just isn't there. I think the West doesn't get it, honestly. but
damn Westerners.
Yeah. But yeah. I would consider doing that for Dragon Ball for sure. But like, it's still so far into the future. Just to put it in perspective, I'm on episode 7, and there's still, I want to say, over 20 games to cover. 2 per episode. That's 10 episodes at the very least. So yeah.
It's weird because like now that I've been talking to you as a content creator, I'm like, damn, that's a lot of work. But like as a fan of Goku, I'm like, yo, all right.
Appreciate it, yeah.
So tell us about how you're like top 8 in Portugal at DBZ Fighters. You're going to be like all humble. He's going to be like, all right, it's not a big deal, but I'm going to put you on the spot. I think that's pretty damn impressive. So let's talk about DBZ Fighters.
All right. I used to be. I don't know if I am anymore. But during season 2, I made top 8 because Portugal has a league. And you score points based on your tournament performance throughout the year. And I made top 8 during season 2. And then I didn't win a single match in the finals, so I was probably the number 8 in that tournament, right? Yeah, season 3 has been weird because of the pandemic. I did qualify to the finals, but I opted to not play because I was also hosting the event on Twitch and commentating, and being like a hybrid commentator player would be kind of awkward. I do think like the top 4 players that played in the tournament were all better than me, so my spot was well taken. I don't know, man. You play the game and you practice it a lot and you get better. Like, what's this question? I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't think Portugal has a super strong scene. And to put it in perspective, I'm gonna roast a friend. He's not gonna be happy. To put it in perspective, the guy who won the tournament this season is Iron Rinnigan. He is the editor on the channel. Like he edits videos he edits videos for my channel. We picked up the game together. He soon became way better than me. I'm still his sparring partner. Like I play well enough to practice with him and to be good practice, but not well enough to beat him, right? And he won the whole thing. And then he went on a show that one of the top Dragon Ball FighterZ commentators hosts every Tuesday called Wanted, where the top players just meet up on PC, and it's sort of a King of the Hill type show. He played against one of the Spanish top 8, and he lost 5-0. He didn't take a single match. So our scene isn't that strong.
There's always a bigger fish out there.
Right.
Huh? No, I also wanted to talk about that beyond just the top 8 and all that kind of stuff. So, but I mean, I thought that was impressive regardless. I mean, you know, you could act humble, but I think it's cool. But beyond that, you are working on a video and like a series here where you said you interviewed some of the top players.
Oh, that video is out.
Was it? Yeah. Sorry, my wording was off. But you've made that video. Can you talk to us about what the journey was with that and what it was like and what you were trying to accomplish in so far as, you know, making that?
So I've been wondering what I should make with fighters for a while. And for a while there, it was gameplay videos, but the thing is, everyone does that. And I was trying to diversify my content a little bit, make it stand out, make it be a little more unique. So I'm currently going through an experimentation phase. The first video of that experimentation, you could call it the ultimate guide, the ultimate Dragon Ball FighterZ guide. I think that was the first one that was, okay, this is going to be a bit different. It's going to be a guide because a lot of people come to this channel asking for tips and how to play and all that stuff. And I'm just going to DM the pros on Twitter, see who's up for it. I knew a couple of them would be up for it because they've dropped by my Twitch and I knew they were, fans of the channel. And after those two said yes, I started DMing other pros and saying like, hey, these guys already accepted. Do you want to be in it as well? And I think that kind of made it easier. Every single pro that I DM'd said yes or didn't reply. So I'm going to be like, he didn't see that. He didn't see that message. He didn't say no, but he didn't see that. The next experimentation was Dragon Ball FighterZ player stereotypes, which is more of a meme community-oriented thing. Like, this is how people play this game, right? There are these types of players, and we sort of make fun of it. Like, we meme it a little bit. And the last one is, I think, also in that sort of... in the same line as that one, where we have pros trying to guess the rank of ordinary players. And I think that's something that every Dragon Ball FighterZ player has on their heads, is like, I wonder if a pro saw my gameplay, what they would think. And I think that video encapsulates that super well, but then it has the extra message of, hey, your rank doesn't matter. This is not how you measure skill levels. Like, Dragon Ball FighterZ rank is just not how you do it. And yeah, I have a few more ideas that I hope pan out. These have been relatively successful. So this has sort of unlocked a new breath for me of creativity as far as Dragon Ball FighterZ content goes, because so far it's been all breakdowns and gameplay videos. And like, this sort of bursted me out of that bubble, and it's I just wake up every morning and I'm happy that I get to come up with new ideas, instead of, okay, let's record another gameplay video, which has worked for a lot of creators, me included, but I don't want to make what everyone else is making. So I'm trying to stand out. And of course, that also has the objective of growing more than everyone else out there, because my content is different. So you can watch their content, but mine is also different. So you're going to watch both, It's that sort of strategy.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's a fantastic idea and premise. And, we were talking about this before, we were even on this call here. And I just, particularly with fighting games, like, it's an art when you see people that are very, very good, like at the top, upper level, go toe to toe in these games. It's like, it's incredible to watch. And, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but for those who do enjoy it, like, you could probably ask around and they would tell you the same, that it's like there's not quite much like it, right, in terms of like a good fight, right, a good tournament. along with the announcers, everything like that when it's on that scale. But just in general, if you're watching them stream or something like that, there's just like an art form that goes along with that. And I think, you know, what you're doing provides incredible value to anyone who genuinely wants to become better at that game. Because I know, or, you know, whatever games that you were able to get more pros on in the future. Because I know for me, there was a point where I was really into, you know, kind of off anime here, but into Injustice as a fighting game.
Right.
And, you know, there was even a point where I was like, you know what, I think I'm like good enough where I could like maybe go to like, you know, local tournament and then like try my luck and see from there. And like, you know, life just kind of came up and other interests came up and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, you got bodied and you don't want to tell the story, huh?
No.
Found you out.
I mean, I probably would have. Maybe I was my eyes were bigger than my stomach type deal. But yeah, I mean, like I would always refer to, you know, videos like, you know, like that, if anything, to understand what I was doing wrong, if I was doing something wrong in said particular scenario, like how I could tweak it, whatever. So I think you're providing a service that, you know, like you said already, nobody really is providing on that level. And to have a conglomerate of different professionals come together and teach you, and, you know, because everyone's styles might differ in some way, shape, or form, really just adds an entire new layer and element to it that I really like. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, I also don't want to become just like because of what we talked about previously. Like, I just don't want to become just the channel that you come to improve at your game, because that's also a dangerous place to be at. Because then people come to your channel for information, and if you ever want to do something different, they're not going to follow you. They're not going to stick with you, right? So, yeah, I try to make sure that, yes, my videos are helpful. They always have a deeper message. Like the pros guessing your rank is a fun exercise, right? But it also has the deeper message of, yo, don't worry too much about your ranks. Like that, they don't matter, right? So I try to have those in, but always mix them with the personality stuff and try to make the channel as unique as possible while keeping it afloat.
I definitely think you're doing that. One of my next questions is, I know we've been talking about fighters a little bit, and I know obviously there's, you know, you are definitely a fan of fighting games, and I would even go so far as to say a fan of just the competitive space in that. What would you say is your favorite competitive anime fighting game? And what is your favorite anime game that's like that's outside of the competitive space? So, you know, single player or what have you.
Interesting. Yeah, a fighter is definitely my favorite competitive fighting game. It's a shame that you can't really enjoy it to the fullest online, because that netcode is bad. But playing that game offline, just sitting next to someone whenever we can do that again, is literally one of my favorite experiences of all time. I went to a couple of international tournaments where after I was knocked out of the bracket, was eliminated, there were always like stations where you could just play casuals, and just playing with people on rotation. Like it's so good. It's so good. Fighters is really a special game. Non-competitive wise, I'm still a really big fan of the Naruto Storm 4 story mode. Really still a big fan of that. I just like how, first of all, that game was my first time watching the animation end, right? I read the manga, but then the game reached the Naruto end before the anime ever did it.
Yeah.
And they just executed on that so well. So well. And to me, the end of the Naruto journey, which lasted for years, since the very beginning of the show, I think I picked it up in the middle of the Chunin exams. So imagine how long ago that was, right? I've been watching that throughout years. That's been a part of my life for ages, and reaching that conclusion in Storm 4 was definitely a special feeling that I don't think can be replicated ever again. So that would be my answer probably.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, because I know one of in case you haven't been able to tell, I'm a huge Naruto fan, i.e. with the questions about the ranking of Naruto games, and then this next one, because one of my other favorite video topics that you've done is you sort of basically just went in length and talked about the Naruto video game that, like, if you could, that you would make.
Oh,
and
no.
it was like, you know, it's a whole breakdown.
I
of
put
stuff
that
and,
nightmare idea in your brain too.
But I will say that as that you stressed in the video several times of like what a hassle it would be to make a game like that. That of all the Naruto games we've gotten, I even watching your videos definitely felt like that kind of game or something that like really harkened in on that idea is definitely something that would be like, and maybe almost this is like to a fault, like the truest to Naruto's lore, like the truest to that world.
Yeah.
You know, because we'd be lying if we said that anime games, you know, pertain 100% to the lore of said, you know, IP or world whenever they're made. It's, you know, it's usually the genre or structure of the game comes first, and then you attach whatever name on you want.
Exactly.
But so I guess my question from that is like, what do you think if you could pick an IP, an anime, and like a game, like what would it be?
I think the Naruto IP right now is super risky because, like I said, Naruto is over, Boruto isn't as popular, and even though it would be successful, it's not an IP that you can just sink a huge budget into anymore. It used to be that way, but not anymore. So I think Naruto is super risky. The safest bet is still Dragon Ball, honestly. What would I make with Dragon Ball? I think Fighters kind of perfected the formula. Just want to see a sequel. I'm not a very good video game developer, I don't think. That's a hard idea. I think the Demon Slayer game will be popular for sure. CyberConnect 2 is working on that. I wish we had more details by now. I do think they announced that thing too soon. They announced it for PS4 like a year ago. It's like, okay, now we're getting new consoles. And these guys haven't shown the game since. The bar is gonna rise, right? The bar for anime games is gonna rise, and I think Demon Slayer is gonna be setting the new standard, similar to how we saw a big step from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, where the 2D Naruto games became the Storm series. I think CyberConnect is gonna do it again on the PS5, or at least I hope so. One Punch Man is tainted forever, so can't touch that anymore.
Oh, come on, you didn't like that game?
It's the game and season 2, honestly, like season 2 of the show. That kind of did bad. Full Metal Alchemist, I might take a shot at that. I might take a shot at Full Metal Alchemist, develop something like RPG like, and you learn recipes for alchemy and you have basic stuff, and you okay, I could probably build something around that.
Okay. Damn, that's fair. I could definitely, I guess I should say I would play an RPG that's Full Metal Alchemist, but I guess it doesn't say much because I'm a huge weeb.
Yeah, I mean, you're already playing it. You didn't even watch the trailer yet, so that was a very easy sell.
That's wild. I think before, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong here. When we were talking prior, like a week ago or whatever, I was asking you about what would your game of the year be right now, and I believe it said Hades.
Hades.
Yeah. Now, I ask you this because a buddy of mine recently has been hitting me up incrementally over Discord, and he'll be like, yo, it's a really cool game out. It's called Hades. And I'm like, I know, you told me the other week. And like if you're watching this, love you to death. But, you know, and then the other day, he actually gifted it to me on Steam. And I was like, buddy, I am so appreciative, but like I can't accept this gift because like I just can't find the time, because that implies that like I'm gonna be able and ready to play, and like I'm just not. But I've heard this game be pretty pumped up, just in general. What do you think makes this game one of the top contenders, at least for this year right now?
All right. First of all, I'm gonna take your buddy's side here, and I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you playing video games during your week time?
No.
What? No video games at all?
I don't have the time.
All right, so it's understandable. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna stick by your friend anymore. That's totally understandable. Sorry to drop you, man. But yeah, if you're playing any video games and you're not playing Hades, you're making a mistake. You gotta check that game out. Yeah, it's just super well written. Voice acting, music is all top notch. Really like the visuals of that too. Like it's amazing background art, character art, and everything else. And then on top of it, it's an isometric roguelike where first you pick one of like 5 weapons to make your run, and then every room you have a god giving you a different boon, a different buff to your weapon or to your dash attack or to your special attack. And then the next room, you're going to find another god that also gives you another boon. And they all combine together in so many interesting ways. Like, no two runs are the same on Hades. And that paired up with every time you die, the story kind of moves forward, makes death not this frustrating thing that, oh man, I got to go back. And then after you go back, you can pick up another weapon and have a completely different run. Hades is so good. I don't know. What can I say to sell you on Hades? It's brilliant.
You're doing a pretty good job
All
already.
right.
To be fair, I don't like if I was playing, playing video games at the moment. Because don't get me wrong, I mean, I do love them. They've been a huge part of my life. It's just right now we're just nose to the grindstone. You know what I mean? Because like it's like all or nothing on this right now. Mm-hmm. So but like if I did, I would definitely try it. I'd definitely pick it up. But the way you've described it seems really cool. Where it's like like you just said, where it's like the floors and they're giving you a different upgrade to your weapon each time. I swear sometimes for me, it might sound crazy. Some people might be able to relate. Half of like what I like about video games that, you're able to like level up and do all that stuff is the actual level up. Like there's something satisfying.
But you have that too. But you have that too. After you return to your room, there's a big talent tree that you can spend your currency on. So your next run, you'll be stronger. Like you're also progressing even though you die. You don't always start over. And then after you get enough talents and stuff, the game might be getting too easy. They also have a talent tree to scale up your difficulty and get better rewards. Like they thought of that stuff. They thought of everything.
Yeah. No, there's something inherently just like satisfying about like looking at that skill tree or whatever and being like, all right, here's the next thing. And it's like not even so much like obviously you enjoy the gameplay that there is, but like literally not even like the hacking and slashing or whatever you're doing to get to that point. No, the literal moment that you're like, let me put that skill in that thing. Like there's some weird.
It's the shiny lore. You know, it's the hey, here's this bright thing that I'm giving you because you did good. It's the praise.
You would fall in love. You would fall in love with Genshin Impact because that's all that game is. It's just level up, level up.
I have.
Yeah, I just ascended. You're playing it too, right, Isaiah?
Yes.
I just ascended like adventure rank 40. Just ascended to like level 80. Like that thing is asking me legendaries to level up my talents. It's oh boy, man. It's like every time you level up a talent, you need a drop from the wolf, which you can only defeat once a week. Like, you crazy? I got 3 talents to upgrade, man. It's gonna take me like a full month.
I watched your review on it, and I definitely agree with like once you get to that end game, it's like I'm sure they're gonna be putting out content in the future, and I don't know how long that game's gonna actually be alive for, considering it is a gacha style like live service game. But like once you get up there to the end game, like AR40, like it is just the grindiest of grinds, and there's not like a whole lot else like to do for it. There's not a whole lot to show for it. You know what I mean?
I should drop that game until there's more updates. I really should.
That's fair. I mean it's got waifus, but like after AR40, all it has is waifus. So one of my other questions is, I know one of the other things we talked about when you said that you were a fan of Hades is that it's one of your it's a game that you don't have to worry about making content for, and how important it was for you to have a game that you could sort of just turn on and play and not worry about like, hold on, let me record a 20, whatever minute gameplay thing for this. Is Hades is Hades the only game that you have like that? And B, are there any anime games that you try to either not, incorporate into the channel, or that you're like, no, this is just going to be like my thing?
No, every anime game I try to incorporate into the channel in some way. Sometimes they fail and they become, okay, this is going to be a pastime game. For instance, Ghost of Tsushima, when it came out, I made a video on that did very, very poorly. I enlisted that video, and I'm like, okay, from this point on, Ghost of Tsushima is a spare time game. So I enjoyed playing that game through. There was an update that came out recently that added multiplayer. I didn't even try covering it. Like, that's just not a game for the channel. Not anymore. Currently, I don't know if I'm playing anything else other than Hades. I guess. Okay, I have a very good example here. I've been wanting to play Fantasy Strike. I don't know if you guys heard of it. Fantasy Strike is a free-to-play fighting game. And I've been wanting to play more of that game, but I also wanted to make a video on it, and I wasn't really sure what the video was. So there have been plenty of times where I had some free time and could dedicate to playing Fantasy Strike, but I'm like, I can't really record the gameplay right now, and I need to do that for the channel. So I've been putting it off until this very week. Like this week, I finally sat down and recorded a few matches, and now that I have a better idea of the video that I want to make, that's a game that I can now play in my spare time, because I know I'm not going to be covering Fantasy Strike in the long term, and I've already recorded the stuff that I need for the channel. So now every time I play Fantasy Strike, that's not work time, that is spare time, that is free time. But yeah, as far as anime games go, I do try to give it at least a chance on the channel, as far as everything anime goes. I did play that new samurai game yesterday, Ghost Runner.
Yes.
Ghost Runner came out yesterday. I played it on Twitch, but I just don't think it's a game that will work well on the channel. So I guess I'm also playing that now on my spare time.
I actually, based off what you just said, I could pick your brain literally all day with this kind of stuff. So I will spare you my my ranting. But one thing that just came up, Twitch in general, right? So this is something that we've talked about, experimented with, etc., with our channel, and whether we should double down or not on certain platforms. Like right now, we use Restream.io to be able to stream to YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So whatever we're doing, we're like, okay, we might as well just hit both, right? Because it's like Twitch right now is a very secondary thing, and it's like, okay, if we could just build people up, so be it. But I wonder what, the benefits to one or the other are, and if you think, going about it as we are now is the right way of doing it, until potentially we wanted to, say at some point we add like a gaming element to it or whatever, is Twitch the move at that point, or, doubling down on YouTube where we want to definitely establish our base?
Right. It's hard to say, because these things keep changing. I will say, in my experience, streaming a mixed strategy that did not work in the past. I'm pretty sure it's changed by now, but back when I was streaming on YouTube, posting videos and streaming on YouTube was actually harmful to your channel, because live streams would only recommend other live streams and videos would only recommend other videos. So basically, only half of your content would get recommended to your viewers, right? Yeah. So as soon as I stopped streaming on YouTube and moved to Twitch, my views skyrocketed on videos. That said, I have a lot less viewers on Twitch than I had on YouTube Live, right? I do not intend to go back, though, because I think this is a good way of diversifying your income. And that's, I think, something you guys need to consider as well. Right now, I'm getting paid through multiple avenues. I'm getting paid via YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, and then external sponsorships, right? So if YouTube decides to have another adpocalypse, I still have 3 other revenue streams, right? Sure. And that's the main reason why I think Twitch is the move. That said, it is almost impossible to grow on Twitch. The way to grow on Twitch is to bring viewers from other platforms. So like you grow on YouTube, which is a very good platform for growth, and bring those viewers over to Twitch. You grow on Instagram or TikTok or whatever and bring those people to Twitch. That's how you grow on Twitch. Because just growing on Twitch on its own, it's terrible. There's no discoverability.
Yeah, it's really rough. Yeah, I guess so. There's something to be said where it's like, you find out what that point is. Like for us right now on YouTube, we're very small in the grand scheme of things. We're like a drop of water in the bucket.
Right, and your focus should totally be growth right now, and not revenue splits or anything of the sort. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. As if there's revenue to be had anyway. So it's like I said, man, it's all or nothing. Like we're all in, my friend. That's it. Just putting in the time. No, that's speaking of time though. I don't know if you had anything else, Isaiah, that you wanted to ask. I mean, we've.
I do, but we can't be here for 4 hours, so.
Because I can pick your ear all day, for sure. And again, thank you for taking the time and being incredibly helpful. I feel like this will provide a lot of value, but I feel we've had you for roughly about an hour now, so I feel it's only fair that we let you get back to doing whatever, everything that you do in order to support yourself and provide value to your fans and people like us. But I just wanted to let you know, I mean, we said it before, that what you do has an impact, has a profound impact, and I hope you're able to continue doing what it is you do for as long as you see fit, for as long as humanly possible, because you've definitely inspired people. And if you needed proof of that, you could just look at us right here. So again, thank you so much for taking the time, for coming on, providing that value, that knowledge, and just entertainment. What I mean in that way as well. Globku, I know this is gonna sound
man, I don't know what to say to that, man. I'm so moved by those words. I really am. Like, oh man. So thank you so much. That's it.
No, dude, seriously.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we mean it. We mean it. Now, this is going to sound weird coming off of just that right now, right? Being that we're at 2,000 subscribers and you're at 150,000, but I'm going to ask you anyway, just in case you want to do it. Is there anything that you would like to let people that are maybe watching you for the first time coming from our channel, right? And they're like, I need something gaming and like I want to get a different perspective, etc. Where can people find you, or your preferred methods, or are there any projects or anything that you're proud of or are working on, and all that kind of stuff? Basically, it's a long-winded way of saying plug yourself, please.
Right. I'm proud of a lot of my work. I am very happy and fortunate to do this. That said, stay away from my channel because you don't want it. The anime games are garbage, man. You don't need these. You don't need this in your life. You really don't. Stay away while you can. But yeah, my main platform is youtube.com/globku. I also stream on Twitch, but if you want to find most of my work, it's youtube.com/globku. I will also give a shout out to a few channels in case you guys want to follow up on YouTube tips and stuff like that. So I've learned most of my stuff from a guy named AWOL. So AWOL Digital, that would be his channel. And he also hosts a podcast called The Digital Drop. They have a Discord, so you can find a lot of help on that Discord, and as well as the YouTube channels. And I think they drop their podcast on Twitter as well as your podcast apps. They have a ton of YouTube tips. And sorry, I dropped stuff. AWOL used to be my boss on TGN, so he's legit, and he's taught me a lot. Like, he's not working with TGN anymore. He's a freelancer. Like, he basically does this for a living now. It's just coaching other YouTube channels. So have a look around their channel, listen to their podcast if you get a chance. There's a lot of free advice there. A lot.
Damn, we will do that.
That's incredibly convenient. There's always a guy, right? It's
right,
like, I need this
guy.
X service. It's like, oh, actually, I literally make it my career to then just teach, people whatever. It's pretty awesome. You could always find someone. But listen, again, Lewis, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for your time. We wish you the best in all of your future endeavors, and we hope to be able to talk with you again. It's in some way, shape, or form at some point, because you've been a blast to have on. We couldn't thank you enough.
Yeah, invite me back to the 10K sub special, and we'll talk about the next milestone then.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. And for everyone watching right now, make sure if you guys enjoy the content that you are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of our discussion? What anime video games are you looking forward to or are thoroughly enjoying right now? And make sure you are definitely checking out Globku on his YouTube channel for all the best gaming content the anime has to offer, or lack thereof. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on the flip. Peace.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hey, you know what it is, dog. Ninjas are samurais, blazing the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly.